outline land off Nunn Street, East Urscol, Dewi Primary School at St David's. And Andrew is going to talk us through this. Welcome, Andrew. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me clearly?
And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So, as the Chair has indicated, the application before you is for modification to an existing Section 106 legal agreement. I would like to point out that there is a typo on your report on page 77. It's in the second paragraph on the fourth line, and it refers to 2 towards. There should only be 1 towards, so I do apologise for that, and that should be omitted. The application process proposes the modification of a Section 106 legal agreement relating to the housing site in St David's for 11 dwellings. The existing legal agreement requires planning obligations to cover a contribution towards a local play area identified as New Street Play Area, and the provision of an on-site affordable housing unit to be transferred to a registered social landlord. The application seeks to amend the provision of the affordable housing element from on-site provision to off-site provision in the form of a financial contribution towards affordable housing. This request is made on the basis that the applicant has approached all the relevant registered social landlords who operate within the area, and they do not wish to take on the relevant unit of affordable housing within this site as initially required within the original legal agreement. The main issues are that the policy and the principle that applies to the Section 106 legal agreements and the variations on whether any off-site financial contributions towards the affordable housing can be supported in lieu of the previously agreed on-site affordable housing provision, and any other material considerations in respect of contributions towards the provision and improvement of the New Street Play Area. Having considered the evidence submitted, officers consider that a modification to agree to a financial contribution towards off-site affordable housing in lieu of on-site affordable housing provision in this instance still serves a planning function, and therefore recommends that this modification request be approved. Just take members through the slideshow, which shows the proposed site plan drawings of the relevant unit and site photos of the current progress on site. So you can see here, members, this is the landscape drawing. I wanted to start with this. So this is Nunn Street running through St David's. This is Urscol Bro Dewi Primary School, and the site is literally a previous allocated site off the land to the rear. There is 11 dwellings, as you will see, and the property in question here, which is the affordable housing unit, is within this first block here, and it's a first floor unit. So this is the actual unit in question. I don't know if you can see my cursor clearly, but it is this first floor unit here, which is the access up through the staircase, and then this unit here. You can see through the site sections that the site does slope slightly away from the Nunn Street development within St David's. And this is the current progress on site as of yesterday. So just wanted to show members where this site is and how far the development is underway. So the recommendation to members is for the application to be delegated to the Chief Exec, Director of Placemaking, Decarbonisation and Engagement, or the Development Management Manager to issue the modified Section 106 legal agreement associated with NP 180488 out, and to include the following contributions within 3 months from the date of this meeting. So the first contribution would be £2,890 towards the provision and or improvement of the open space, which is indicated as the New Street Play Area. The second contribution would be for £82,896.96, which would be a residual off-site commuted sum payment towards affordable housing. And in reaching this recommendation, officers have had regard to the requirements of the Section 3 and 5 of the Wellbeing and Future Generations Wales Act 2015. it is considered that the recommendation is in accordance with the Act's Sustainable Development Principles through its contribution towards Westminster's wellbeing objectives, supporting safe, cohesive and resilient communities. As such, the report before members sets out on pages 70 to 118 and contains the relevant information in order to determine the application. Therefore, the recommendation, as just read out, is for delegation to officers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and thank you for the very detailed report showing how these sums are achieved and arrived at. There's a very set process to come to these figures. Any questions for Andrew? Fine.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Andrew. I just wondered, it says the applicant has asked around for the registered social landlord to take on the affordable home, so checked on that. That's fine. Thank you.
Sorry,
Yes.
I didn't quite get that question.
The question was that we've had information from the applicant that no registered social landlords wanted to take this forward, and it was just clarification really. Was there any base checking of this?
Yes, we've had sight of the actual relevant correspondence that the applicant has questioned with the RSLs on their capabilities of taking on these. We are content with that evidence.
Thank you, Andrew. Bethan.
Yeah, I was just going to ask the same question because I'm getting lots of feedback from residents in St David's regarding this development. They were under the, we thought that there was going to be a social housing there because the development is, as I say, it's not very popular in St David's, and the people in Nunn Street, I'm sure you've had letters regarding all this, and that was one hope that there was going to be some sort of social housing there, because social housing in St David's is desperate. But so are we allowed to have privy of those emails from, I presume, ATEB, Pembrokeshire County Council, and others saying that they didn't want these didn't want this affordable flat?
I don't think that's appropriate for members. The officers have seen.
That's okay. That's fine. It's just I'm inundated with but I can understand where you come from as well. But thank you.
I will defer to Sarah.
Yeah, just to give some reassurance in terms of need within the community. Under the terms of the affordable housing supplementary planning guidance, where we do receive commuted sums, we try to prioritise spend within the communities that they've been generated within. We do have a cascade approach, because obviously we'd never want to be in a position where we're returning funds to a developer. So if it hasn't been spent within the community within 3 years, then we will look more broadly. But somewhere like St David's, I would hope very much that there would be the opportunity for Pembrokeshire County Council's housing team to spend this financial contribution on a property within St David's. So I hope that offers some reassurance with regards to that concern.
Thank you, Sarah. That's really helpful. Reece.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Quick question regarding the social housing landlords obviously not keen to take on this property. Was it because it didn't meet the requirements for the Welsh housing quality standards? Because if that is the case, we need to be mindful in the future when we're approving applications with agreements that the proposed affordable dwellings do actually meet those standards, because we're just going to keep seeing this time and time again. So I'm just wondering, was that the reason for the rejection, or is it other reasons?
No, through you, Chair. Would you like me to respond on this one, Sarah?
Yeah, if you go first, Andrew.
Yeah, okay. So basically, as we've indicated within the report, they have to build it out to those standards. The issue this time was that all the RSLs that were approached are the ones that operate within this area, so they'd be the relevant catchment to approach. They've all indicated that it was management issues that relayed to why they took the decision not to take on this unit. So it was not in relation to that the actual design, the layout, the set areas didn't meet the minimum requirements. It was their own management issues with this particular unit and the site that relayed why they were not prepared to take on the unit.
Can I just
Thank you.
I just
Kate,
want to
yeah.
clarify that. My understanding is that the management issues was to do with the flat having a shared garden with an open market flat, and none of the RSLs were prepared to take the risk of having a shared space. So from us as a planning authority, we need to take that forward. If this is ever to, this isn't, as far as I know, it's never happened before on an affordable housing contribution, which is why there was no trigger for that within the Section 106 agreement. So we need to, when we're determining applications which are for small numbers or which have shared spaces, we need to have upfront from RSLs before we approve applications that they will take them on and that there are no issues going forward. So hopefully we will have learned a lesson from this, but it's not to do with the DQR, it's just to do with the fact that they're not prepared that risk of a shared space.
Thank you, Kate. It's very important that we do learn these lessons. It's a really good question and point made there, Reece. Thank you very much. Councillor Bone, Maureen.
Thank you, Chair. I just think it's so sad that it's the affordable housing that's not going to be built. And I know it's needed in that area. And the original agreement was that it would be built, you know.
It was one unit, one
Yeah.
unit of the 11, yeah.
Yeah, the original agreement included this. And I think it's, you know, a really, it's a scapegoat really. I'm trying to put everything into planning terms because I'm new on this committee, but I feel it's outrageous that these things can be got away with.
It is difficult when the developer has tried their best to deliver what would the 106 required. That, I mean, this is the reason it's come to committee.
Yeah, if I can just come back on that. So obviously it is disappointing. We would always prefer to have on-site provision. We want mixed communities. That's what Welsh Government directs us to do. And our preference and our strong preference would always be on-site. In this particular circumstance, as Kate outlined and Andrew outlined in the report, we don't have a partner, an RSL partner prepared to take this on. The financial contribution of over £80,000 will be spent in order to deliver affordable housing. So that will go into the Pembrokeshire Housing pot and will help buy a property elsewhere, hopefully within St David's. And the way in which the spend process works is that for the first 3 years they will try and find a property within St David's to use that money to deliver an on the ground affordable housing unit that meets the needs of that community. So that's how that spend will hopefully take place. We do have the flexibility that if it can't be spent within 3 years, it may be allocated to a wider area, and that's just because in some communities it's not always possible to find a property. But with the amount of building that's happening in St David's, and sometimes it's used to buy older council houses back, you know, I think there is every opportunity, hopefully, that financial contribution will result in a physical unit of accommodation somewhere in St David's.
Thank you, Sarah. Of course.
Thank you for that explanation. You know, I don't have what you said. I just think why was it approved originally that it would be built? Surely these things should have gone into, you know, the beginning.
I absolutely accept that, and I think, you know, this is a sort of 2018 application. As Kate said, we're going to look very hard at the lessons to be learned from this.
Thank you, officers, and thank you for that, Maureen. Bethan, Councillor Price.
Yeah, no, I'm just, and thank you for your explanation, and I'm glad this has been recorded now so people can, residents of St David's can look back on this, and I will reiterate what's happened here today, and yeah, lessons to be learned. But no, thank you very much for your explanation.
Thank you. Members, any other comments or questions? I think we've covered the main points. I'm looking for a proposer here. Di?
Happy to second, Chair. If I can just speak on this just quickly.
Of course
Sorry,
you can.
I thought
Sorry.
we were still in questions for
Yes,
officers.
we'd merged in.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I apologise for not making that clear.
That's fine, and I'd like to thank Kate for her explanation and honesty. I think things change, it's a moving picture, and policies, especially in Wales and from Welsh Government, have moved so quickly in the last few years. It's hard to keep up. But fundamentally, let's look at the positives here. We've got 10, 11 properties that are going to be built in St David's, hopefully bought by people in St David's who are going to live and contribute to St David's and the wider area. They're going to boost our school numbers and all of those types of things. And I hope that the additional money that will come into the housing revenue account within PCC will be spent within St David's. I know that Saunders Foot has benefited from such money, Tenby and other areas, and the fastest way that we can get houses at the moment, unfortunately, isn't building them, it's buying them back. So I hope that something is found in or around that benefits a local family in desperate need of a home. So Councillor Clements has already moved the recommendation. I will second it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Apologies for cutting off any debate that people wish to input. Bethan?
Sorry, I'm just replying to Rhys's comment regarding these houses. The prices of these houses are out of the price range of people in St David's, just to let them know that. And this is why this one affordable property, people were looking forward to it for a family from St David's. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Price. I am aware of that. But equally, I'm sure St David's is a welcoming community that will welcome people into the community who may move in from other areas of the UK and impact the city that I know that you're very proud of. So I'm fully aware of the prices, but it's what we can bring to the city, not to try and take away from, I suppose. It's making a positive from the negative. Thank you.
It's always helpful to do that, but we've also heard the concerns of members and indeed the learning that officers will take forward. So that's really helpful. We have a proposal from Councillor Clements, seconded by Councillor Jordan, that we should delegate approval for this Section 106 agreement modification. The delegation needed, of course, because the 106 needs to be modified and then seen by officers. I'll go to the vote. All those in favour, please. All those, any against? One against. No abstentions. Thank you very much. That's carried then. And we move on to 5F. This is NP 240155 full. This is an application for temporary change of use to land to accommodate a mobile sauna in Saundersfoot Harbour. And our officer, Bethan Gledhill, is going to lead on this application. Thank you, Bethan.
Thank you, Chair. So here we have an application for a temporary change of use of land to site a mobile sauna at Saundersfoot Harbour. So just before I present the application, I do have some verbal updates. So since the report was written, 3 letters of support have been received from third parties, with the main points being the positives that will come from development, the health and wellbeing benefits, employment and football, and the sauna will be a great asset to the village. I've also received a consultation response from the Highways Authority and the Planning Ecologist. The Highways Authority have confirmed that they have no objections. The Planning Ecologist has no objections, subject to the proposed biodiversity enhancements being shown on a plan, which is to be submitted to by the authority. We do have a condition to that effect proposed in any case. I did receive a response this morning from PCC's access officer, and they are happy with the condition that I have suggested, an additional condition relating to accessibility, which is here in the conclusion. So it will read.
I need that slightly larger, Bethan, if it's all possible.
Yeah.
Do read it out as well.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I'm not very techy, unfortunately. So it will read, a minimum distance of 1 metre shall be maintained between the mobile sauna and the edge of the footpath at all times, to be maintained as such for the duration of the permission hereby granted. So the access officer has confirmed that she is happy with that condition. So if I take you back to the beginning. So here is the location plan, and outlined in red is the proposed area. And then here we have the site plan with the 3 proposed locations. So location 1 is the ideal location. Location 2 takes into account high tides and storm surges, but with it being a mobile sauna, it could be moved further up the path here. And then location 3 is potentially a winter location from when the RNLI hut is not in situ. So here I have some site photos looking north. So it shows you where the proposed locations would be. So here, I don't know if you can see my cursor there, and obviously just here. Here we have some elevations of the proposed sauna. It's an example of a sauna to be sited, and this will be the proposed colour of the sauna. So the application site is located within the centre boundary of Saundersfoot and also within its conservation area. The principle of development is deemed acceptable as it would result in the creation of a living unit within the centre of Saundersfoot. No adverse comments have been received from consultees, and given the existing retail units within the harbour, it's not considered that the proposed mobile sauna would have an adverse impact on the area in general. There are no concerns in terms of amenity, and as the site is located within a popular tourist location, the proposed change of use of land isn't deemed to be of a scale which is incompatible with its surroundings. So here I have some photographs that were submitted by the applicant in support, and that's just to demonstrate that in its ideal location, the sauna would be concealed by the shrubbery and the trees. We have another couple of photos to show that the sauna would be interfering with any of the benches, so that the views of the beach aren't obscured. So, as I say, PCC Highways have come back with objections. The site does lie within flood zone C2, as defined by the development advice maps. NRW did ask for a full consequence assessment, but due to the fact that the sauna is mobile, we have imposed a condition that ensures the applicants register for NRW's flood advice warning. And in regard to that, there is a slight amendment to condition 5 within your papers. So it should read, prior to the operational use of the mobile sauna, the applicants must provide the local planning authority with a written statement demonstrating that they have signed up to NRW's flood advice warning service, along with a plan demonstrating how the siting of the mobile sauna will be varied in order to ensure that any risks associated with overtopping from storm surges can be appropriately managed. So in terms of the biodiversity, the applicants confirm that they will improve the planting beds by removing overgrown shrubs and planting coastal grasses. and the applicant intends to install bug hotels and bird nesting boxes. So these biodiversity enhancements are considered acceptable. However, as I said previously, there will be a condition imposed which requires the scheme to be shown on a plan. So in conclusion, having regard to all matters raised, the development is considered to be in accordance with all the relevant LBU policies, and the recommendation before you is to grant planning permissions subject to conditions, along with that additional condition that I mentioned earlier about the accessibility. Thank you.
Yeah, Bethan. Members, any questions, points of clarification? We do have a speaker. The applicant is present for this application as well. Any questions for Bethan? Chris? Oh, sorry. Rachel, sorry.
You showed the saw itself as like a shed. How big is the trailer element of that? And is that photo going to be accurate? So when it's in situ, how does that trailer look? Is that an accurate depiction, the one photo you showed us? Not just a shed sit on the floor, is it going to be permanently on the trailer, or yeah? So I get a feel and the length of that. And
so the length of the sauna itself is 4.1 meters there, and with the trailer it's 5.3. So it will be situated on the trailer.
Yeah, and can you show me the photo you had of it? That was the white shed,
that
one
there.
That one.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
not
it's on the trailer.
Yeah, it's on the
Yes.
trailer there,
That's
and that
right.
is 5 meters from length to length, from the tow
Yeah.
bar right across.
Yeah, so this is just an example. That's not the actual sauna. It's just an example, just to show what the colour of the sauna here will be proposed. So the elevations are probably more accurate, I would say.
Okay, and sorry, I have got a few other questions.
That's
Does
all right.
it need any power supply to it to run?
That's a very good question.
Perhaps we can ask the applicant.
Right. Because from experience of running saunas,
Yes,
they're quite angry. And then what does that mean, and how is it that hitched up, and
Yeah.
how is it? Yeah, okay, we'll do that there. The safety of the trail, I think we probably could ask the agent if you,
Mhm.
unless Beth got answers there, but I think of the public safety of getting into a shed like that overnight, potentially switching on the sauna, causing, well, death potentially. They are dangerous things.
We're trying to learn. Learn from Reece. We're looking at positives.
Anybody could go into that. I think it's a lovely idea. It's on a front there. Could somebody go in and put that sauna on overnight to be in there for hours and hours and hours? And then obviously moving that trailer. So the security of that element, because more money wanted to be mobile for the flood reasons. I get that completely. But the flip side of that is a public liability safety issue. So that would be useful. And if we get into the debate, I would be interested in one on a condition around ongoing maintenance. So how that looks over time.
We will do debate on this, I can assure you.
But Bethan might have already thought about ongoing maintenance already.
To be
Can
honest,
you answer those questions, or shall we ask?
you can, by all means, yeah.
Well,
But Bethan might have thought,
Yeah, I think the applicant's likely to be better placed
Yeah.
to answer in the first place.
okay.
thank
You
you.
have, we will make sure that all of those are covered. Done.
Thank you, Chair. It says temporary. How long is temporary?
2 years.
Is it in there?
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies. I thought I'd read it. Obviously not.
Thank you. Gwynteen and Ken. Gwyn.
Can I just ask, supplementary to that, 2 years, is that based on any scientific or regulatory requirement, or why would we choose that timescale?
Kate.
It might seem slightly arbitrary, but in the Welsh Government conditions guidance, it suggests that you should give a temporary permission if you want to test a use. So if you want to test its visual impact, or if there are any issues with it, rather than giving a full planning permission straight away, you can give a temporary permission. It doesn't mean that it wouldn't get full permission eventually, but it gives enough time for it to be tested effectively. So if there were going to be complaints about people being able to access it, or complaints about the visual impact, those could then be taken into account when it's applied for as a permanent feature after that 2-year period.
Why 2, why not 3?
It's random. It was 2 years, seemed a reasonable amount of time to give the applicants a chance to test the water effectively.
Okay.
So one of the issues in this case is the flood area. 2 years allows for experience of how they can manage within a flood situation, and whether or not, if a permanent permission was granted, then it might, for example, require the removal of it off-site in the winter if that proves problematic. If they're able to manage it on site, then that's something that we're a permanent application to come before committee could consider.
Thank you. I can't see any other questions for Bethan. So I'd like to welcome Bryony to the table, please. Bryony Rees.
I also carry out those.
Okay, sorry about that. Is one of you speaking? We're going to split. Yeah, fine. Bit more complicated for our timekeeper. So you're very welcome, and you have 5 minutes between you. Please do give your presentation.
Diolch yn fawr, thank you for having us here. Shwmae pawb, Bryony dwi Cydlynydd Awr y Gwrs i Benfro, and Bryony the After Schools Coordinator. My role is to connect people with nature. Kerry and I are both from Saundersfoot, communities of Saundersfoot, and that's where we're seeking planning for the mobile sauna. Saundersfoot is known famously for its CDIP. It's got a community of CDIP users already, and we really feel that this would complement the community that already exists and open up to so many other people this heat therapy. It's an affordable health benefit, saunas. And research has shown that it has many health benefits, reducing stress, anxiety, boosting immunity, alleviating muscle pain, inflammation, and improving sleep. Groundbreaking recent Finnish studies have shown that sauna, using it frequently, reduces developing Alzheimer's and heart disease. So we'd be really keen to open this up to the community and people from wide and afar for health benefits.
There have been extensive improvements to the Saundersfoot Harbour area with £10 million of development funds from the EU and Welsh Government. We believe that the mobile sauna is a very good fit for these improved facilities in and around the harbour. We aim to offer a year-round high-quality tourist experience, which we believe will help to bring people into the village and extend the tourist season, which will also benefit many local businesses. We hope we can bring our mobile sauna to the communities of Saundersfoot and South Wales with all of the positive benefits we believe that will result. Thank you very much.
Wow,
Thank you. Yeah. We obviously already have some questions about the actual operation, I think. So Rachel, would you like to? Yeah.
So the trailer itself, the wheel element of that, and have you thought about the safety of actually that being towed away? And the other one is the actual sauna itself, getting access to that sauna. Don't we just locking it overnight with some sort of system that it would stop operating after X amount of hours or something. So those are the two. Then the power supply, or whether it's going to be those are the three main ones. The other was a condition.
Yeah. Okay, so the mobile sauna is wood. It's a wood burner, and Kerry will talk about the wood burning system. But everything we've had in place, we've worked with Saundersfoot Harbour to ensure that we comply with all regulations. Everything has been risk assessed, and the sauna will be manned at all times when operational. The area is under CCTV as well, to add an extra element of safety. But you'd only be able to access the sauna with a qualified, experienced owner.
Yeah, there is a lock on the sauna door so that it won't be open to anyone just to be able to walk in. So the locking ability of the sauna is a big thing. 'Cause like you, we don't want people going in and doing self-damage. We're very much the opposite end of the scale. We want to be helping people improve their health, not going in there when they're drunk and lighting a fire.
Exactly. So overnight, it's a CCTV and a lock at the door, your two security elements.
Yeah. Yeah. So the sauna itself and moving the sauna around, we plan to do that at very low times. One of the benefits of us being local and on site is that we know that first thing in the morning and last thing at night, the area is significantly quieter than during the middle of the day. So we would very much aim to be moving it at the quieter times. But if not, we would be able to ask the harbour and their team for support. They're obviously very used to moving big heavy machinery around in the forms of boats and cockle lorries and things.
No, sorry, my question was more about other people. I'm thinking about the visual impact for us more than the liability view. Of losing the sauna, but I'm thinking about the safety of it being
Yeah.
pitched easily and towed away. This
Oh, yes, we have.
so what locks and other, so I'm thinking of the
Yeah.
visual impact.
So, I mean, we obviously,
Lamps, etc.
yeah,
Big chains.
yeah, we've obviously had to jump through a lot of hoops for insurance as well. They're very mindful of the insurance liabilities for the sauna. So we have locks on the sauna wheels so that people wouldn't just be able to come and load away. And a tow bar hitch as well. So we've got 3 locks on the sauna that people would have, and they're heavy duty insurance stamped locks that make it very difficult for people just to come and take it away. So yeah, it wouldn't be a reverse up and drive off scenario.
But they wouldn't, you're not thinking of bolting those, they are standard clamps around the wheels.
So yeah, so there's two clamps on the wheels, and those would be the wheels that are accessible, obviously from the side that would be on the beach side, brought to fit the locks there. But on the side that would be accessible would be two insurance approved locks on the wheels themselves, and also a tow bar lock as well, so that people can't attach the tow bar. So they would have to deal with 3 heavy duty in order to do that, all while the CCTV is watching them.
Yeah, it's the visual bit.
Yes,
But
so-
thank you for clarifying that.
Colours of
Yeah, sorry, but
sizes there.
thank you very
Yeah.
much. I think of how you said it's all wood burning. Thank you.
Can I follow up on that and just ask source of wood?
Yeah, so local sources, so we would this can be in Narberth and also at Hop Hill, which is in Saundersfoot. There's also the Heen Castles, there's a few different options depending on what type of wood we want, we get all in the local vicinity. And we would look potentially do a planting scheme with it as well, so we can become completely carbon neutral.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. That was my carbon question. Di.
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. I'm just a little bit concerned with the positioning of it, because I had fish and chips down there on Saturday night, and sat there and people. Yeah, often have fish and chips. But I'm just mindful, a lot of people stand around that particular point, don't they? And I'm just thinking of pick up hitches as well, bit sharp edges, and you said, I think the access officer said about 1 metre, wasn't it, allowed? But actually, I mean, you sit there watching people, they walk their family all together, pushchair, wheelchair, whatever. It will limit the amount of people that can stand in that position, because it is really quite a good one to look out over, especially for those who perhaps are less able to go down to the beach, but perhaps their family members go down there and they can sit there, the older generation sit there out on those benches and watch out. So I'm just mindful if there's people coming and going to the sauna, that will limit that ability to do that. And also, if you're taking wood there on more practical, if you're taking wood there as well, where's that going to be stored? Because you'll be taking that every day, I suppose, will you? Or how much it uses, I don't know, it might not use very much. But those are the things that just sort of concerning me a little bit.
Thanks, Di. So just an answer to those. So we're really mindful of where we put the sauna and work with the harbour to look at different locations. The sauna will take up 5 metres of a very long section of that promenade. So we're hoping we're not going to take up too much room. The clearway at the narrowest point is 1.7 metres, so above the 1 metre that's recommended. And that's at the narrowest point, so it's wider at other sections. So yeah, as I said, we're hoping that it will only be that very small part. And the reason behind the shrubbery was that it didn't affect any visuals from the village, and it's not opposite any benches, so no one sitting down will be affected by the view. And then in terms of your question, in terms of the wood, so we would take enough for that day. It's very efficient, actually, 6 logs to fire
Which
up
might not be
on
much.
1 hour. So you only need a maximum of 20 logs that they would be taken for that session as and when, so nothing would be stored outside of the sauna.
Thank you, Brian. Please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. I'll just be brief. Few questions, not really around the sauna. I'm quite happy with that. I think we've certainly covered how it's going to be locked, fired, secured, and monitored. I'm more concerned, and it's not a real concern, but obviously when people use the sauna, they don't go in fully clothed. Where are they getting changed? How are they getting changed, and where's the storage of their items? Because they're not going to take them in with them, understandably. And what I would be concerned about is just clothes being scattered all along that path, and potentially someone falling over them, or someone stealing someone's clothes while they're in the sauna, pretty much in naked. So I'm just wondering, how's the changing and the kind of space around that going to work?
Yeah, so we actually worked with the sauna designers to create a bespoke changing area within the sauna, so that everyone gets a little cubicle within the sauna. So your items would only be available to the other people that you're sharing the sauna with. So because we were very aware of that, we've used similar saunas with the change room that's too small. So we've actually spent money on creating a changing area because of that exact reason, that we wanted to solve.
Yeah, and just that there's 6 users at a time, so it's not massive. There's a thing about 20 swimmers in the nuts and 40 at least at a time.
No, I get that.
So it's a very small number in comparison to the users that are already using the beach
Great.
for different purposes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Maureen.
Perhaps the officers can clarify this, but I thought wood burning was to be frowned on because of carbon emissions. Respond.
Please.
So I have I've had a few conversations about this, and particularly when I was in a formal role with Pembrokeshire County Council, the energy manager at the time, who was looking at carbon, said to me that if you're using local wood that doesn't have a carbon associated with its transport, what you're doing is you're using a product that would otherwise be rotting down and releasing carbon. So you're releasing this, you might be releasing a little bit faster by burning it, but you are releasing a product that would have been releasing carbon in any case. So the carbon associated is likely to do with the transportation and how far it's been brought. So if local wood is being used, then obviously that reduces that impact, or that potential impact.
May I
Of course.
So what about emissions directly from the unit? People's
Smoke and so yeah.
Yeah, so again, we've done everything that we can do within this realm as well. We actually sourced the cleanest burning sauna stove that we can, which is called a Green Flame sauna. So it has a specially designed burn chamber to reduce the emissions of carbon monoxide by 70% and the small particulate matter by 20% on a standard sauna thing. So very, very clean burning. It's as clean as we can get it.
Can I just add? So I think one of the questions earlier was around, why is this a temporary use? Obviously, this is quite a new use in this location. So the reason for the 2-year permission is to allow, to monitor and see how it would work. We did consult with NRW, and I don't believe that they raised any concerns around the sort of the wood burning element.
No. Thank you. Sarah, please.
Yeah, I've had the experience of using one of these saunas located on another beach in Pembrokeshire, and it's really, I'm interested in the sort of behavioural side of things. The experience that I had was that groups were using the sauna in conjunction with cold water dipping, and going from one extreme temperature to the other, and obviously involving leaving the sauna and going down and dipping in the cold sea, and then going back up again. And so I was interested if that's the concept, because there's various logistic things around that. When I used the other facility, we left all our belongings just outside the door of the sauna, but it was located in a fairly remote beach without much activity around it. But we were leaving all our belongings unsupervised to go and dip into the sea. And there was also a question mark over a sauna operation effectively advocating cold water dipping, with the potential health hazard of that. So obviously the idea of it is that you put your body under extreme stress. And I know that you mentioned a lot of the benefits. Obviously I'm committed to that. I've tried it myself. Yeah. So you've got a fan here. It's just that it's also a health risk, and somebody somewhere needs to be supervising people, and sometimes running a sauna operation doesn't actually include the safety of the people who are then jumping into the freezing cold sea straight afterwards. Even though that's kind of what they're doing, that's what the offer is. So it'd be good to hear some comments to that. And if I personally was going to locate a sauna which is designed for well-being, peace, quiet, and relaxation, as I was sitting there in your your bather and going in and out. And the experience that I have of Saundersfoot Harbour on a sunny day, which is absolute chaos and busy and hectic. I can't imagine having a relaxing experience on a typical busy day in Saundersfoot. And I was thinking that the location of it would be much more relaxing if it was somewhere like Coppet Hall, or just above the slipway of the Glen Beach, or somewhere like that. So I just wanted to speak from the personal perspective. I know these things are mobile, but I have got a big question mark about the physical location of that unit in probably the busiest corner of the busiest car park on one of the busiest resorts in Pembrokeshire, and how that is going to work in terms of giving people the experience of relaxing and enjoying and being at peace and connected to nature, because I can't see it at this point. Sorry.
Thank you, Sarah. I'll ask Kate to come in and just comment, and then we'll go back to the applicants for comment
you.
about the safety.
I think in terms of the visitor experience, the experience that people have is not a matter for us to be judging as a material consideration. That's a business judgment for the operators of the business to determine. From a planning perspective, this is the most sustainable and the least visually intrusive place you could put it in the national park. So if you were to put this in a remote beach, you're introducing an element of urban development into the national park. So from our point of view, this is eminently sustainable in terms of availability to people walking, parking, other facilities, being able to use it from the village of Saundersfoot. So our concerns are principally visual impact and sustainability of location. So on both of those measures, it meets our planning requirements, and that's why it's recommended for approval.
Thank you very much, Kate. Very important to have that bringing us back to our planning requirements.
Yeah,
Comment on
from
safety.
safety point of view, yes. There are a lot of health benefits, but quite rightly there are also some dangers that have been highlighted, and we'll be making these very clear on our website. We will have a waiver that explains to people very clearly who can and can't use the sauna if there are certain health conditions which we exclude, will be on there. We will have this waiver signed by everyone who goes into the sauna, so that everyone will be made aware of the dangers and whether or not it is suitable for them. We are planning to be a sauna business, not not a sauna business and DDIP business. People will do what they will do. We can't manage people outside of our business area. We both cold dip. We both know the benefits of that. We know that it works for us. We know that it doesn't work for everyone. So we will be, making clear to people that they don't have to do a cold water dip as part of our experience. I think I know which sauna business you're talking about on the North Coast. And they do push the cold water element a lot more than we are planning to. So we want it to be accessible to everyone, and we want it to be, something that people can use, or they're able to use it.
Yeah, and I would just say you can get the benefits from being in the sauna and then just standing outside. That gives you the cold element. We live in Wales. We know the climate and temperatures. You certainly don't need to go in the sea to get the benefits of being in a sauna.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, sorry, I couldn't quite hear earlier. Excuse me. Is it going to be manned? Is there going to be staff in there? Can I ask a question, lady? There is.
Supervised all the time it's open.
Okay, so is that going to be by yourselves, or are you going to be obviously employing people locally?
Yeah.
Yeah, bit of both. We will be employing people. I'm a single mum, and Bryony has a full-time job, so we want to be there because we love the business, kind of concept, and we really want to be there and making sure that we're doing the very best job we can. But we will also be employing people, local people as well, to fill in any gaps that we can't do as well. So yeah.
So
bit of both.
you'd be doing the maintenance and things on the sauna itself then when it's in situ?
So yeah, I mean, there's some maintenance that we can't do, MOTs on the trailer and things like that. But yeah, we'll be making sure that all the maintenance that should be done is being done on it. Yeah.
Okay, I think personally, I think it's a great idea because, like most people know, I open water swim every morning like yourselves. I think it is an enhancement to Saundersfoot. I quite would like one myself. But obviously I'm glad that you're erring on the side of caution with the insurance side. Obviously a lot of thought has gone into where you want to put it. I'm a little unconvinced where it is going to be, but obviously you're going to have the 2 years and time will tell. But I'd like to say, I'd like to propose that obviously we accept it, please.
Thank you, Sam. We're moving into debate, and I said that we would make sure that we had debate on this. Mike.
Just a quick question. Apart from ourselves, you'll have members and staff. Will they be fully qualified then?
Yes, we'll make sure that everyone has the relevant training for first aid and health and safety and all of those kind of things as well.
Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Thank you. Nessa.
As I say, similar to Di, as you say, I'm a little bit concerned, as you say, to the position in it. And I think you said that you'd had other discussions with the Saundersfoot Harbour. So were there any other positions that this was discussable? Because if this is granted today, this is going to be the only unit that's actually on a walkway, on a pathway. All the other units are actually back in the car park. So that's my sort of question on where else was considered.
Can I just jump in there in regard to materiality? It's pretty rare to consider other locations in relation to the planning application. You have to consider this application on its merits, like this location or not.
Thank you. So my concern is to say that it's the only one that's going to be positioned in a walkway, and as you say, it's a very busy area. That's my.
So just to comment that we've had no objection from PCC Highways, and we have had a very late response from the access officer this morning, confirming that she is satisfied with the condition that requires at least 1 metre to be allowed for continued use of that walkway.
Members, have we finished questioning points of clarification for the applicants, because we could ask them to sit back? Yes, I think so. Thank you very much, both. Now we are into debate.
We're in debate.
Di and then Reese, please.
Thank you. I note that Saundersfoot Community Council you haven't received a response at the time of writing.
No.
No comment from them at all. As usually, it's quite useful to hear from Community Council, Town Council.
No response received, I'm afraid.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'm assuming you've taken Councillor Skirn.
I have. Thank you very much. I've got her proposal.
Okay.
Backed.
So we've had lots of questions to the applicant, lots of questions to the officers. As far as I can see it, the business case is not a material consideration for us to be looking at. I wish them all the luck in the world. I hope it's really successful. There's no reason for me not to support the officer's recommendation, so I will be supporting the application, and I'll second Councillor Skirn.
Thank you very much indeed.
Recommendation, thank you.
Any other comments? Chris?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to take
knowledge. Yes.
Yeah, I fully take on board everyone's comments regarding the access and the positioning and the well-being that it can present the sauna. I also feel that the fact is that no one has sort of really come in and complained or made any issues. We've also got the issue that if there's been taken regarding the access, there's no issue there. But going forward, also as well, because it's for 2 years, it gives us an opportunity then to revalue that in 2 years' time. And also because it's mobile, you've got 3 positions there that if things don't work, we've got 2 other positions it can go into. So for that reason, I will support it today as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that summary. Very helpful. Any other input, members? Rachel?
So myself, I'm more towards Vanessa. It perhaps a bit of a precedent in putting something on the path, which is different to other things. I think it's a great idea and the concept, you know, I bought into all of that, but is it the right thing in the right place, and where does it lead once we've done one of these? I appreciate the visual impact. You're trying to mask that and put it behind some of the trees and things, but actually when you're there and in that busy spot, there's going to be another thing that's actually might be in the way. And then I was asking about the claps and things, because it's not going to perhaps, you know, what is that in reality? The storage side, the staff hanging around, people's stuff, queues, waiting, and obviously perhaps big yellow clamps or chains, or we have no visual of what that looks like. That's what I've got in my mind. So it's the equipment, the paraphernalia, the cars you need, everything that goes with it that I feel hasn't come before me to convince me, okay, no, that's been really sorted out. This is how it's going to look in situ. And having experience of this in other areas as well, you know, over time, these things really do build up. You have rubbish collecting round the wheels, these things, all sorts of things going on. So I'm not minded at the moment as things going to support it. And that's not because the concept, I'm very supportive of it. It's just this location for me and the visual impact and the busyness. So the amenity element.
Thank you.
Not totally convinced.
And one of the helpful issues is, not at all, not at all. It's always very helpful to have other points of view. That's what we're here to debate. It's also very helpful that the applicants can hear the concerns of members around the table. Any other points, Gwyn?
Really going back to my 2 years trial.
Yep.
What criteria will the assessment of whether it was a success or not be, and who will conduct the assessment?
I think we would, you know, if we give a temporary consent and a full application were to come in and say environmental health say there have been a number of complaints about emissions, or if highways come back and say there have been a number of complaints about access, then we would have to take those into consideration when we do the consultation on a permanent permission.
Right, and the timing of that will be after.
It would be up to the applicants.
20 months.
It would be up to the applicants to make a full application whenever they chose towards the end of that application.
Yeah.
Okay.
If this application receives approval, after 2 years, it has to not be on site unless they come forward and apply post or pre that, I suppose. Thank you, members. I think we have a proposer from Sam, Councillor Scobackle, and a seconder from Councillor Jordan. I'm going to go to the vote now. All those in favour, please. Eleven. Okay, see your hands again, please. On screen.
Oh, on screen.
Yeah. 9, 10. Yeah, that's 11 for. Those against, please. 1, 2, 4. Any abstentions? Then that's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bethan. We'll move on now to
Chair, I'm going to leave now and join online.
Right.
Sorry, but I've got to get back because I've got something that need checking.
That's fine. You will miss this interpretation panel.
I will, sorry.
I think after that we were going for a lunch break reason.
Okay.
So
You change your mind now because there's food.
No. So yeah.
Check online to see what time we're coming back.
I will indeed. And for those who I don't see moving forward,
Yes, we should.
see you next time.
Yeah.
Shall we
Yeah,
say.
well, yeah.
Hopefully I'll be back soon. Yeah. Pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye, Liz. See you.
Going to move now to agenda item 5G. This is NP 23 0600 ADV. It's the installation of an interpretation panel, which will have landscape habitat plan and works information on it at St David's Airfield. The applicant is NRW, I believe, and Beth Ann, our officer, to take this forward. Thank you very much, Beth Ann.
Thank you, Chair. So this application is being presented to committee today. The land is within the National Park ownership. So the application seeks permission for advertisement consent for the installation of an interpretation board at St David's Airfield. The main issues are public safety, amenity, landscape and biodiversity. So this shows the location of the proposed interpretation panel. So this spot here is approximately 400 metres north of the informal car parking area at Fahellick. This is a photo of where the interpretation panel will be going. Now we have an example of the type of signage that's being proposed. It is a lectern type structure, which will have an A1 sized interpretation board. The signage is part of NRW's LifeQuake project, which seeks to improve habitats in and around the SSSI and the SAC. So I did ask for an example of the text, or rather what the text would be, and I wanted to make sure that it would be bilingual, which I appreciate that's not particularly big on screen there, but there is the Welsh version also. So that was being confirmed by NRW. And then we have an example here of something similar that's been put up at Carsfachno, which is, I think, somewhere in mid Wales. So due to its sighting, it's not considered that the signage would cause harm to public safety. And it's considered that signage proposed by NRW would enhance the visitor experience by giving the information about what works are being undertaken to improve the area's habitats and biodiversity. Whilst we haven't received a green infrastructure statement, it's clear that the works that are involved within this area will result in a net benefit for biodiversity, so that element is considered acceptable. And in conclusion, proposed signage is considered acceptable in terms of public safety and amenity, and the recommendation before you is to grant permission subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Beth Ann. Any questions, points of clarification on this? Members were very interested. I remember our last discussion about an information panel. Perhaps you could just go back to the NRW example for Carsfachno, where clearly information not only about the site but about the whole project, which is a national project focusing on bogs and fens, similar areas. Any points of Steve?
Just to say, well done. I think we need something like that because people need to be informed of where they are. It's an important area and it needs to be looked after. We have issues locally with me where that isn't the case for various reasons. And to me, I think, as far as I'm concerned, I propose that it goes ahead.
Thank you very much. Rachel?
I'm happy to second. So
Thank you.
That far ahead.
Thank you, Michelle. That's fine. I think we're probably not going to debate a great deal. I'm always very keen that information is given while activity is going on, as well as at the end of a site, because it gives not only this is an important site, but what's happening. And I believe that that's the purpose of this. Rachel.
Thank you. That was that's my question, Chair, actually. So supportive, etc., etc. There's one thing about the lane and the site of the location you showed me. Just made me raise a question, thinking of the practicalities of it. Who's going to stop there, read it there? So I just had a bit of a thought, not knowing the site, but is that the right location? Are people going to stop? Yeah, because I just thought, oh yeah, how does that actually work in reality? And then my other one was, if it's about works that's temporary, is this something where it should be temporary signage?
I believe the advertisement consent, is it 5 years?
It's automatic.
Yeah, automatic.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
And it doesn't need to be there.
that's right. So I believe that at the beginning, when discussions were taking place between NRW and an officer on PCMP, they did look at alternative locations, but on this location. So obviously we have to consider the location that's before us, but yes, I do believe that there were discussions prior to submitting the application that this location was considered to be the most suitable on that site.
Sorry, I don't know this area. I don't know when you are here.
Oh,
So a car would have to pull up then, and they'd be just reading it from there. It's not going to be a foot.
No, it
No,
is on,
it is on
it's into the
It's
site.
going into a site, right?
Yes,
Okay,
so
that explains the access thing. It looked a bit odd to me.
yeah.
Kate,
I'll
I
just
think.
clarify that the condition does require its removal after 5 years. So
Yes,
that's there.
The location, it's not about cars and people, it's literally people go into a site and they could look at it in that field.
Yeah, there are rights of way networks across.
Yeah, it's not being used.
No.
Thank you.
Happy with that, members? Any other points for clarification? We've got a proposal from Councillor Alderman and a seconder from Michelle from Councillor Wiggins. I'll take this to the vote. We are voting on approval of this, as we now know, temporary 5-year approval for this advertisement. However, it is an information board signage. All those in favour, please. That's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Bethan. Yes, exactly that. Thank you, members. I think we've moved through those items swiftly this morning. I'm pleased to announce. I think that it is appropriate now to have a break for lunch and to give the officers a chance to stop writing. Please come back at 1:30. So we'll be back at 1:30 for agenda item 5H.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Great finding it. That's right.